What I think people are missing the point with this card is they're comparing it to other mana rocks and other cards in your deck, when what you should be comparing this to is a basic land. Because it's 0 mana and because it's colourless, it can go in every single deck. So why wouldn't you run it in every single deck if it's better than a basic land? So let's do some comparative questions. The first question is, would you prefer to draw this than a basic land? And I think the answer to that question for 99% of decks is, this is just a better basic land, because it gives you the opportunity to cast your commander again, and most decks gain advantage through their commander, and most decks nowadays gain silly amounts of card advantage through their commander. So that's what you have to compare it against. You have to compare it against, would you rather draw a land or draw this card? And most of the time you'd rather draw this. The other question you have to say is, would you rather have a land in your opener, your opening hand, or this card? And for most of the time, you'd rather have this card than a land, because it allows you to cast your commander, and your commander gains you advantage. Most commanders anyway. So I don't think it's fair to compare it to a 2 mana rock. I don't think it's fair to compare it to any other card, really, other than something that also costs 0 mana. That's the key feature of this. If this card cost 3 mana, or 2 mana, or even 1 mana, yeah, it wouldn't be very good. But it costs 0. That means there's literally no opportunity cost to running it over a land. If you drew this, or a land, you'd be happy either way, right? Oh, I can make my land drop, or I can just cast my 6-drop on turn 3. Like, it's absurd. The card is literally absurd. I'm like rambling about it, but it's absurd. This card is ridiculous. It's an auto-include in every deck, because there's literally no opportunity cost for you taking out a basic land and putting this card in. Like, there's literally no opportunity cost. There's no disadvantage to doing that. You make your deck better by taking out an island, a mountain, a plains, a swamp, and putting this in instead. Hey, if you can find another card to take out, okay, fine, take that card out and put this in. But because it's better than a basic land, you run it in every deck. And it's 0 mana, and it's colourless. And when I say and it's 0 mana, what I mean is that's the reason you can compare this to a land, because it's basically your land drop with an upside. It's like saying a card in your hand gives you the ability to play another land, because that's all it is. At the end of the day, it's another land in your hand on turn 1, and it's a better land in your hand on turn 1 and on any other turn in the game. Because if you draw this and you have a land in your hand, you get to play this and a land, so it's better than a land. So does it homogenise the format? Yes, it does, because you could put this in every deck. You could justify putting this card in every single deck for the reasons I've just listed. Do I hate the card? I don't care so much, but at the moment, but I know when I see it, it's going to frustrate me, and I will see it. I know I will, and that's the real problem that I have with the card, is when someone plays it, I'm going to be like irrationally frustrated about it, which is sad. And I'm trying to quantify why that is. Well, I think that's because it kind of makes your interaction in the game less valid, and I don't like cards that do that. So, for instance, if I remove someone's commander, I should have a reward for doing that, right? I should have a reward for interacting with that player and removing their commander. With cards like this in the format, it means that your removal feels null and void, because all they do on their next turn is cast Gilded Jewel and recast the commander that you just got rid of, which is a frustrating play pattern. Do I think this card should be banned? No. One of the downsides is that this card is going to be ludicrously expensive. I mean, look at the price already. It's absurdly expensive. Most players can't ever afford that amount of money on a piece of cardboard, so that's going to keep it out of the format, basically. However, I don't agree with the fact that it's so expensive, and will be so expensive, and will be such a chase card. There's no way that they're going to reprint this for a long time, so this card is going to be very expensive for a very long time. And that's the other reason why it's going to be frustrating for players, is because they're going to look at this and think, when someone else plays it, I can't afford that. And there's no way that I'm ever going to be able to justify that amount of money on this game that I play. And that's sad as well. I feel like I've been like massively negative this video, so I'm going to try and think of some positive things to say about this card, or cards from Commander Legends. This card is one of those cards that immediately makes someone a target, and rightly so. So if someone plays this card, you know to target them. So if someone plays this card, just kill them first, and you can all have a normal game after that. So I think that should be the code of conduct going forward, and that is a positive to take away, right? Is that, you know, you can play your Hedron Archives now quite safely because you know someone else is playing this ludicrous card. So you can play your Hedron Archive and you can know, safe in your heart of hearts, that no one's going to target you for your Hedron Archive anymore because this card exists. And it's absurd.